life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and appreciate your patience there. Little glitch. Digital world, baby. That's what happens sometimes. So Papa Joe and I are here to talk about college football now as we shift gears from Major League Baseball. College football conversation. PJ's got a rant to make. I'm going to let him make that rant. I'll respond to it. We'll make our picks for week 1 of college football, and then we'll take a look at how we did on our predictions for the Jaguars' 53-man roster. PJ, take it away.
Okay, well, let's face it, the last couple of years I haven't been happy with college football and the executive committee that runs the deal. They're continually giving in to the players for what they want instead of understanding that they need an education. Now they're going to move up to playoff football 1 week.
Yep.
The second week in December, they'll play 4 first-round games and so on and so on and so on. Keep in mind, folks, that we got 12 teams now, not 4. 12 teams that are going to make up the playoffs. So, why is this important? Well, folks, they're not going to be in class. With NIL, the executives are giving in to the players. They don't care for academics anymore. Nick Saban saw this coming, and he's smart for it. All the kids want to do is prance around on the field, look good, be sure that they're being seen for the people they're doing business with. They don't care about academics. Speaking of academics, Dartmouth, Major League Baseball, their basketball team accuses Dartmouth hierarchy executives of unfair labor practices because they won't deal with it. They refuse to recognize them. That even though the kids voted 11-2 for union, SEIU, which I have a lot of history with, and I broke one of your unions, so this isn't not something that's not unfamiliar to me.
Yeah.
But Dartmouth has played hardball. They don't want to meet with them. Why? Because, folks, players are not employees. They are students whose educational program includes athletics. Case closed. They shouldn't have to be unionized. Besides, the tuition at Dartmouth is $62,000 a year. Go smoke that pipe for a while. I don't get it.
Yeah, it is an interesting world that we live in when it comes to collegiate athletics now. The collegiate model, in a lot of ways, has kind of died off, and we're not seeing what we're used to seeing, right? It doesn't look like you're playing for the love of the game anymore. Now, some people are playing for the love of the game, but it is definitely frustrating. It's frustrating to see this. It's frustrating to have this individualism in athletics and a lot of things that were illegal 5 seconds ago that are now legal to do in collegiate athletics. So it's sad all the way around what we've been seeing. And although I do believe that student athletes should be able to make something, and, I think it should be an even playing field. I think when you start making each student athlete their own business, it puts them in a situation where, like, if you had, if you just say with this house settlement, hey, this is a certain percentage that you have to give your school, your student athletes and whatnot, and everybody's making the same, the offensive lineman's making the same as the starting quarterback, as the long snapper and the wide receiver, then I think everybody makes money. We got an even playing field. We got nothing to talk about, and it probably goes by the wayside, and it's not even a discussion. Outside of being able to afford it, it's not a discussion with the players. When each player is their own separate business, and in the case of college football, that means you have arguably 105 businesses on your team. When you have 105 student athletes on your team in college football, aka 105 businesses on your team, then you're trying to monitor 105 different companies, all moving in different directions. One of them is making 10 grand. One of them is making $50. One of them is making $500. One of them is making $5 million. A lot of different things that are going on. And if you're running a college football team or any collegiate athletic team, if you're running a program as a head coach and everybody on your team, every student athlete is moving in their own direction, running their own business, doing their own thing, it's very hard to keep it all together. And that's the situation that we're looking at right now. It's not that student athletes shouldn't make something, because the NCAA has claimed that they're a non-for-profit organization, which I find hilarious. How can you be a non-for-profit organization when you're making millions and billions of dollars? I mean, that sounds like a profit to me. And when you're paying the people at the top over $1 million to run it, and then you got other people making $1 million, and you got other people making 500,000, that sounds like a profit. I mean, you can't be paying the people that type of money at the top of your business if you're not making a profit. Where's that money coming from? So they made money on the backs of the student athletes for 1,000,000 years. And the student athletes should get something for that. The majority of people that play collegiate athletics will never play professionally. And so this is the only time that they have money. They have the opportunity to make money playing the sports that they love. So I believe they should make something. But if you even the playing field, you make the percentage the same, and each conference handles it how they want to. I mean, if the NCAA said to each conference, this is what we're doing. See, the problem with the NCAA is that they say they monitor, but they don't. You can hit a school with a failure to monitor sanction. But who monitors the NCAA? Do they monitor themselves? I think it's laughable that the NCAA says we can go after a school for the failure to monitor. Failure to monitor student athletes, failure to monitor recruiting. But the NCAA fails to monitor all the time. So how can you really do anything when the ruling body of the NCAA wants no part in this? They've taken no part in this. They're not punishing people equally. They're not punishing people at all. Now everything illegal, like I said, is legal. What is the model of the NCAA as we move forward? And you want the government to be involved? You want Congress to be involved? Why do you want Congress to be involved? Congress has proven year after year, presidency after presidency, they can't get along. They can't make decisions. If somebody on the congressional floor owes you $5, it'll take them 17 months to get you that $5 just to agree on it. I mean, I said before, if there was a baby on a train track and the Democrats or Republicans were talking about saving the baby on the train track, if the Republicans said, let's save this baby, the Democrats would let the baby die, not because they want the baby to die, but because they don't want to agree with the Republicans and go on record agreeing with them. So then the baby dies. I mean, why would you want Congress to have one more thing on their plate when America right now looks like a shell of itself? The NCAA, they are the ruling body. They are the governance. Take over, do the right thing, have a model, create equality from coast to coast, bring an even playing field, give equal opportunity, and now we don't have a conversation. Because if you're paying the players and you're paying them equally, and you're giving them the same opportunity no matter where they go, now recruiting is about the coach again. Recruiting is about the right fit again. Recruiting is about that school having your major again. Right now, it's about the money. Right now, it's about who can get me what and how fast and when and how much of it, as opposed to it being about the things that matter. Getting an education, building a team, having relationships. I mean, I could talk about this thing all day, but in closing, what I'll say to you folks is in order to have true amateurism and true collegiate athletics again, the NCAA has to do something that they have refused to do for years, which is take responsibility, be a ruling body that is consistent and fair across the board, and to take the time to figure out a plan, to nail down a plan. California said we're going to do name, image, and likeness, and then everybody else was screwed because California made a decision with the other 49 states scrambling, trying to figure it out. And the NCAA did no due diligence to get this ready, to get it right, and to make it make sense. I saw the problem back in 2020. If you didn't see the problem back in 2020, you weren't paying attention. The problem is here. It's been here for 5 years. If you want to fix it, the NCAA has to put together bylaws, rules, requirements, whatever needs to be. They need to put together a list of this is what it is for everybody. And once it becomes that, and once the percentage is there, and once every school knows what they need to do, now all of a sudden we're living in a world where it's somewhat fair again. The student athletes are not all their own businesses. They're not all moving in other directions. And we can finally get back to what matters. We can finally get back to the family of a team. We can finally get back to collegiate athletics growing and learning and evolving and becoming the men and women that they need to be as they step out into the real world. If you want this to work, the NCAA has to do the work. It is as simple as that. If you want to make positive change, stop looking over your shoulder for somebody else to do it and start doing it yourself.
Well, it's possible, although unlikely, that these kids can transfer 4 years.
Yeah.
Instead of 3. Now, what do you do with an individual IEB, which is a individual education program, when you're going from school to school? How do you know what kind of credits you're going to get, what kind of professors you're going to have, what kind of credits you need to graduate? If you know how to spell the word graduate, it's upsetting. And all these guys, they're just hot shots. If they want to go, I'll play someplace as a freshman, then I go somewhere else as a sophomore, and then junior I'll play somewhere. Hey, I can turn pro after my junior year. Forget about the last year. I still have money coming in from my NLL. So there's no end, Daniel. There's no end.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to figure it out, and the NCAA is going to have to take responsibility if they want to get anything done right. I appreciate the NCAA and the opportunities that it provides and everything that it's done, and the fact that we've been able to have collegiate athletics. I appreciate all of that. I appreciate the tournaments they put on and the championships they put on. I just want them to take over and actually do the work to make this happen. There's no reason why this model can't work. You just have to have a bunch of people willing to put in the work and move in the same direction. That's what it comes down to. You have to put in the work. I tell people that all the time. If you want to achieve something in life, you have to put the work in. It's as simple as that. You can't just mail it in. That's not how life works. And we need to stop thinking as a country that we can sit on our butt and just wait for somebody to hand us a check. If it didn't happen in the first place, we wouldn't be thinking that it can happen all the time. College football 2024, week 1 picks. PJ, we're going to get into our picks here. We got a lot of things going on in college football from today all the way to Monday night. We have a full slate tonight that looks like a Saturday, and then it keeps going on from here. So I'm going to ask you a few games here that we have going on, and then we'll move forward from here. We have, for tonight's games, for Thursday, August 29th, I'm trying to find a couple to circle here. How about this one? North Carolina, because a lot of these, I'm looking at these going, yeah, okay. But North Carolina at Minnesota, ACC versus the Big Ten. What do you got?
I think North Carolina is going to be positioned to do really well in the ACC this year. I like them in this game. Yeah,
North Carolina. PG is going to go ahead and go with UNC. I'm also going to go with North Carolina in this matchup against Minnesota. Mac Brown, who you heard from earlier this week, a lot of respect for what he's doing. I know that they had some moments and they faltered a little bit, but I think they're going to find their way to a victory here on the road at Minnesota, which will be big for the portfolio of the ACC as they can have a win over the Big Ten. So I'm going to give them a victory here. Next one that we have up, PJ, that's going to be happening tonight is for the first time in a while, Colorado is back in the Big 12. They were part of the Big 12 originally. Then they went to the Pac-12. In the disbanding of what we know as the Pac, we now have Colorado in the Big 12. They're going to have North Dakota State, who's been a fantastic FCS team, to challenge Deion Sanders at home. The game is going to be on ESPN at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, August 29th. Who do you have for this one?
Well, I'd like to say that Deion Sanders is a buffoon. I'm going to say that up front. And I like North Dakota State because he's a buffoon.
So PJ going with North Dakota State in this one. North Dakota State, to me, again, really good team, brings out good quarterbacks, brings out, good wide receivers, NFL-style players, and, of course, Carson Wentz and whatnot. And so I'm actually going to go with the upset here as well. I'm going to go with North Dakota State in this matchup. Deion has proven that they can score. The defense has been suspect at times, and I don't think you can count out North Dakota State, so I'm going to go with them. This Friday, we got a few games going on, PJ, and once again, the American does not shy away from playing top competition. Oklahoma's in their first season in the SEC, and their first game in their new era as an SEC team is going to be hosting Temple of the American Athletic Conference. Friday night, what do you have? Temple at 16th ranked Oklahoma.
This is a rout, Daniel. Beat Oklahoma. And frankly, the tickets for sale are starting from $26. So a lot of people aren't going to be there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oklahoma in this one as well. I hope Stan Drayton has himself a great season, and really appreciate the friendship and the bond that we have. As an impartial broadcaster, I got to go with Oklahoma in this matchup. Next one that we have up, PJ, is going to take us to another team that I am covering here. Unique situation. One is a coach that I've covered for years, TCU, Sonny Dykes. Started covering him at SMU. And Stanford is a new squad that I have started to build a relationship with. Just had Troy Taylor, the head coach of the Stanford Cardinal, on the broadcast. They are in the ACC for the first time ever. They will be hosting TCU in Stanford, California. What do you have for TCU at Stanford?
Boy, it's confusing to keep track of all these teams, what conference they're in.
Yeah.
I'll take Stanford.
Yeah, PJ going to take Stanford at home. I'm also going to take the Stanford Cardinal at home against TCU. TCU, a strong team, but I'm going to give Stanford the edge here and Troy Taylor in their first season in the ACC. Saturday, PJ, Clemson at Georgia. This is the Aflac kickoff game. It used to be called the Chick-fil-A kickoff game. It is now the Aflac kickoff game, which is overseen by Peach Bowl Inc. and President CEO Gary Stokan, who I know very well over many years. And they also have the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl at the end of the season, which is part of the college football playoff every single season from here on out, either a quarterfinal game or a semifinal game. So the Aflac kickoff game, Clemson, who is ranked 14th in the nation, Georgia, who is ranked number 1 in the nation. The game will be played in Atlanta, Georgia. So more of a home game for Georgia, but it is considered a neutral field, and it's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the home of the Atlanta Falcons. Who do you have, PJ, Clemson or Georgia?
Well, I'll tell you one team that's going to be looking at this Clemson game, and that's FSU. If Clemson loses this game, which I think they will, and they don't look good winning it or losing it, then FSU's got a shot still for the conference. But I think Georgia's a little bit too tough right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Georgia in this matchup as well, PJ. I got to go with the Bulldogs to get this victory, so I'm going to agree with you on this one so far. And PJ and I don't know each other's picks before we do the show live, so right now we are snake eyes. We're right on par with each other, but didn't have this set up before, so we'll see where we go from here. Penn State at West Virginia, PJ. What do you got?
This would be a good game. Matter of fact, it's on the same time as Clemson-Georgia game. I don't think I'll be watching this one, but Penn State to me has always been overrated in the Big Ten. So, but I like West Virginia. I think they're playing at West Virginia, so let's give it a shot.
PJ going with West Virginia. I'm going to be going with Penn State in this one. I got asked this question last night, and I got Penn State winning this game on the road here. I think they'll start off their season with a victory. Other games that we have, PJ, here, some of these are Ohio State's playing Akron and so on and so forth. So some of these teams are trying to get their early victories here. But we do have a game that I circled here, and that is Miami against Go Gators. We have the Miami Hurricanes, who are ranked 19th in the nation, and they're going to be visiting Gainesville against an unranked Florida Gators team that will be hosting them. The game is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC, and ESPN Plus. Miami of the ACC, Florida of the SEC. What do you have for the teams that share colors but are not looking to share this game, as one of them is going to come out with a victory? Miami at Florida. What do you got?
Well, the last 2 years have been heartbreak for me for Florida. They just haven't had it together. I don't know if Billy Napier is the coach for this team, but what he did is he went out and he recruited well again. He's got a good team this year. He's got a good quarterback who, frankly, led the nation in percentages last year, completion percentages. My heart says Florida, and I'm going to stay with that pick. I'm going to recognize very quickly the first couple of 3 series whether this team has it or not. Their offensive line has been chastened over the years. They got a good one this year. If Graham Mertz stays on his feet, we got a big chance of winning this game, but I'm going to stay with Florida.
PJ going with the Go Gators. I'm going to go with the Miami Hurricanes in this matchup. I think Miami starts off the season with a victory under Mario Cristobal. I'd like to see Florida win this, but I got to see more from Billy Napier and the Gators. I haven't seen a lot. This could be a season where, and this is never wishing anything on anybody, trust me, never wish a bad thing on anybody ever. I'm stating my thoughts on the season. I don't know if Billy Napier is the coach at the end of the season, and depending on how they start, I don't know if he's the coach during this season. And PJ and I are highly against firing a coach during a campaign, but I don't know if Billy Napier is the coach 7, 8, 10 games in, depending on what happens. I got to see more from him, so I'm going to go with the Gators in this match, or I'm going to go with the Hurricanes, in this matchup to defeat the Gators.
There's one other point I would like to make about this game.
Yeah.
Florida's recruiting has been very good the last, say, 2 years. And last year, they signed the Gatorade Player of the Year, DJ Lugway from Texas. And he's a lot of the great Gator faithful are looking for him to get in the game. If this turns out to be not a good game as we go forward into the third period or so, I look for Legway to come into the game, and that's really going to put Billy Napier under a fire. I tell you, he's got to play this kid eventually, because for the next 2 years he's going to have the team to himself. But this year, I'm not quite so sure.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. PJ, next game that we have coming up here, we got a couple more games I want to hit on Saturday before we go to Sunday night and Monday night. The next game, Notre Dame, ranked 7th in the country, typically ranked always in the top 10 or top 15 no matter what because of their namesake. Notre Dame is 7, Texas A&M is 20. Texas A&M is going into their first game with former defensive coordinator and now head coach who came back to the team after 2 years at Duke where he did a great job. That's Mike Elko. And Jimbo Fisher is out. Mike Elko is in. He returns to Texas A&M, this time as a head coach. Does Mike Elko get a victory over Notre Dame at home in College Station, Texas? At 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time is the kickoff on ABC on Saturday.
I think he does. He did a hell of a job at Duke. I mean, if you can win at Duke, and winning at Duke is like winning at Vanderbilt. These kids are so smart, a lot of them aren't football players. But he managed to do it. And because of that, I like him in this game.
Yeah, Texas A&M, PJ going with TAMU. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go with Texas A&M and Mike Elko to get a win in his first game back at Texas A&M and first time as a head coach there. Next one that we have up, PJ, on Saturday is the first game ever as a head coach in his history and first game as the leader of the Orange. Fran Brown, the era officially starts on the field this Saturday in the Dome, August 30th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, or pardon me, August 31st at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Ohio at Syracuse. Who wins?
I think Syracuse has got to win, and they got to win big here. I think that the naming Fran Brown is an excellent move by Syracuse. I think he comes with a lot of credentials, and I think his recruiting class isn't that bad right now. I think it's in the mid-20s. If he can do with 3 stars what the other coach did, he's going to win, and I like him in this game.
Yeah, PJ going with Syracuse. I'm also going to pick the Orange in this matchup against the Ohio Bobcats. If they do what they need to do, it'd be nice to see. And I know, you got to take care of business, but if they come out firing, if these transfers work, if Kyle McCord from Ohio State is a good signal caller under center right off the bat, keep in mind, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new offense, defense a little bit different, 3-3-5 to a 4-2-5, but they said they can still flip back into a 3-3-5, but you got new guys on the defensive line. You got a lot of returners at linebacker. You got some new faces with some old faces. Deuce Chestnut coming back to Syracuse after transferring to LSU. He's now back on the team in the back line for defensive backs. You got a new quarterback. You got LaQuint Allen in the backfield returning at running back, but you got some other guys back there to help him. Trevor Pena's coming back from injury as a kick returner and a punt returner. Malachi James, the track field star. Everybody talks about how fast and explosive he is and how talented he is. So we'll see if we see the true freshman out there wearing number 36. And at wide receiver, bunch of guys coming in. Zeed Haynes as well as Jackson Meeks transferring from Georgia. You got guys like Emmanuel Ross, who's a true freshman. Aronde Gadsden II is back at tight end coming off of injury, God willing, having himself a full season. Dan Villari is back at tight end. A lot of big stuff coming up for the Orange. Their kicker, Brady Denneberg, over 90% of his kickoffs went through the end zone, so he's not allowing anybody more often than not to return on Syracuse, and not giving anyone on special teams an opportunity for good field position with their ability to run the ball themselves. He's kicking it right out of the end zone. So we'll see what happens here with Syracuse, but hopefully if they do what they need to do, we can see Michael Johnson Jr., whose father is the tight ends coach on the team, and co-offensive coordinator, Michael Johnson Sr. So we could see him at quarterback coming out of FAU. So basically, this is a game where I think fans are hoping Syracuse takes care of it in the first half, first three quarters, so we can see some of these guys, including a backup quarterback like Carlos Del Rio Wilson or Michael Johnson Jr., get a few reps in this game. But got to take care of the task at hand. I'm going to pick Syracuse in this one to win the game. Sunday Night Football, PJ, USC, who is ranked 23rd in the nation, at LSU, who's ranked 13th in the nation. Brian Kelly's done some good things at LSU. Does he get a victory? This game is going to be played on neutral ground. It's not going to be in Baton Rouge. This game is going to be at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Syracuse will be there against UNLV later on this season. It's the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. So who do you have, PJ? USC, LSU?
Well, I think USC has been overrated the last couple of years, and I don't know what Lincoln Riley's doing over there. I thought coming from Oklahoma, this would be a slam dunk for him.
Yeah.
But he's not producing over there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't win this year, he'd be out too. So, and with that, in saying that, I like LSU.
Yeah, I think Brian Kelly's doing some good stuff there, and so I think LSU, to me, I'm going to make this pick for LSU and give them the victory in this matchup. And I feel good about Brian Kelly. I feel good about the work that he's doing. I think that we're going to potentially see a good season from LSU this season. So I'm going to lean on Brian Kelly's side here and give him the victory. The last game that we have, PJ, for our week one picks, Boston College at Florida State. Florida State, despite the loss to Georgia Tech, is considered in the top 10 in the nation still. So what do you have? Florida State will be at home in Tallahassee at Doak Campbell Stadium. I've been there a bunch of times. This game is Monday night, September 2nd. It's the only game that's going to be played on Labor Day in college football. And BC at Florida State. Florida State playing 2 ACC games to start their season. So they're in conference for the first 2 games. They cannot falter again. They cannot go 0-2 in the ACC. Boston College at Florida State, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN. Who do you got?
I don't understand how Florida State can even be in the top 20 right now.
Yeah.
They didn't do their job against a mediocre Georgia Tech team. Let's face it. Their running attack looked terrible. They couldn't stop the run. Their quarterback, DJ Ali, whatever his name is, he couldn't do the job. What are they going to do when they face a really, really, really good team? Boston College is not that really good team. They're going to have a hair up their butt, so they're going to win the game rather easily. But I need to see a lot more from Florida State.
I think that is the soundbite of the week. DJ Uiagalelei, whatever his name is. So DJ Uiagalelei. So I said, hey, he struggled at Clemson. He did some things at Oregon State, but I did not pick Florida State to win the ACC this year. I picked Clemson, and one of the reasons why. The reason that separated the two of them for me is that as much as Cade Klubnik has had some issue as a starting quarterback, and he hasn't had a great run at Clemson, but he's had time. DJ Uiagalelei is at Florida State for the first time, and I said if DJ falters, then this Florida State team is going to have issues. Now behind him, they have a redshirt freshman who was on the team last year and 2 true freshmen at quarterback. That's what Florida State has. They could be playing one of those guys at some point this season if DJ struggles. The reason why I didn't pick Florida State to win the ACC is because I did not believe going into the season that DJ is going to be the answer. If it was Jordan Travis coming in, then yes. And I'm not trying to knock DJ. I'm just trying to state he struggled in the ACC before, and a lot of it rests on him. People are picking Florida State, I think, with the mentality. I think they're picking Florida State thinking, well, they got screwed last year, but Jordan Travis isn't their guy. He's not their quarterback. He's not there. He's in the NFL. He's with the Jets. And I think that, as much as you want Florida State to have a resurgence, I don't think they're a bad team. I'm a fan of Mike Norvell. I told fans that he was going to get things in the right position. PJ told you the same thing. But ultimately, DJ versus Cade, I leaned on Cade a little bit more than DJ. I am going to pick Florida State to win this game, but don't count out Boston College this season of getting some good wins and maybe being a bowl team. Billy O'Brien is the head coach of the team. He was at Florida State. He was with the Houston Texans, and now he is with Doug Marrone at Boston College. And they recruit Central and Upstate New York. Shout out to that. And I talked with him about that, and you're actually going to hear that on tomorrow's broadcast of the show. So with that being said, those are our picks. PJ and I going with Florida State. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of this so we can keep ourselves honest, as always, because we like to show you our picks. When PJ and I are wrong, we still tell you. A lot of people in the media hide when they do the wrong when they don't have the right pick. PJ and I put it out there. So we got our picks out here for you, and we're going to share with you our picks on the Jacksonville Jaguars roster. Did we get it right? We predicted the 53-man roster. Did PJ and I know what we're talking about? Well, you'll find out after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. PJ and I are here for one final set, and that final set is about the Jacksonville Jaguars Duval. So we're here to talk about Jacksonville, and did we get it right with the 53-man roster? I mentioned on yesterday's show, and I'm going to be putting it up on all of our podcasting platforms so you can go back and listen to it. The roster cuts. I didn't name every single person because there was a bunch of names on these rosters of 32 NFL teams, but I made notes on every single team on some of those cuts that happened, including the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we'll get into that. PJ, the roster is in. We got the 53-manner, and we also have the practice squad of some of these. And as happens every year, Jacksonville makes some cuts and immediately sign those players to the practice squad. So your thoughts, your predictions, what did you get right? So bring us into how you did in the Jacksonville 53-man roster prediction.
Well, the offensive side of the ball, I think I did pretty good with everyone except the offensive line. Pedersen decided not to bring back Tyler Shatley.
Yeah.
Who I think was a valuable member of his offensive line for several years. And I don't know why he would give up with him. So what does he do? He turns around and signs with Pittsburgh. I mean, the guy still can play football.
Yeah.
Why he's on the team, I don't know. I mean, I know he's got to probably bring in some young guys too every once in a while, but that was a big surprise for me on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, on the offensive side of the ball for me, I mean, taking a look at it, breaking it down, PJ and I talked about Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence. We're going to be on the team, of course, and maybe C.J. Beathard. And then also we had made mention, I had said Travis Etienne Jr., Tank Bigsby, and Dearness Johnson. They had all signed contract. They all had contracts going into the season. They picked up the fifth-year option on Travis Etienne. He's going into his fourth year. They drafted Tank last year, and they signed an extension to Dearness Johnson in the offseason. So not surprised there with any of that. Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., who they drafted out of LSU, Parker Washington, Devin Duvernay, Christian Kirk, and Tim Jones. I mentioned all those guys, so no surprise there at wide receiver. I said they'd keep three tight ends, Evan Engram, Luke Farrell, Brenton Strange. They kept those three guys. Offensively, Javon Foster, who they drafted, Mitch Morrissey, Brandon Sheriff, Walker Little, Cam Robinson, Ezra Cleveland, Anton Harrison, Luke Fortner. I mentioned all those guys. I thought that they would keep, like PJ said, Tyler Shatley. They didn't. I think that's a mistake. Shatley has been whatever they needed whenever they needed it. Center, guard. He played wherever he needed to play. He was typically not the starter, but he was the guy that was always there as filling in the cracks, so to speak. Whenever there was a crack in the foundation of the Jaguars' offensive line, he worked to fill it. Cole Van Lanen was a name that was on there. He's back, as well as Cooper Hodges. I didn't have Cooper on my list. Cole Van Lanen was a name that I looked at because he has been there and he has had some time there. So not a lot of surprises here for me outside of Tyler Shatley. What about the defensive side, PJ, as far as who you had and who ends up being kept on the roster?
On the defensive side, I missed B.J. Coleman, but I understand that he's now on the practice squad, so that helps. Travis Gibson, they traded.
Yeah.
Jordy, the rookie, made the team. Go down the line here, Joe. Christian Braswell I had on my team. Pedersen didn't, but Christian Braswell is now on the practice squad, so he's not really going anywhere. That was good. Everything's good. I mean, Andrew Wingard is on the IR, but everything else is all right. I mean, we follow these guys. So what I did like to say is that Jordan Jefferson being a rookie and Mason Smith being a rookie, they both made the team, and that says a lot about Pedersen. He likes proven guys, but that's why it surprised me not keeping Shatler. So taking two guys on the defensive side of the ball, on the line especially, is big.
Yeah, and we'll take a look at the. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
There's another guy. I can't even pronounce his name. Isai Otomizo or something like that.
Yeah.
Tyler Lacey, I missed him too. So, but I don't know who this Isai guy is. I don't know where he came from.
Yeah. So I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars. When we look at the defensive side of the ball and how PJ and I did looking at this 53-man roster, this is how it breaks down for me on my end of it. When we look at the roster and how everything ends up here for the 53-man as we head into week number 1, believe it or not, folks, on the defensive line. I want to take a look at the defensive line first here. Josh Allen, who now goes by Josh Hines Allen. Obviously, we had him he's somebody that they've had to work on securing and making sure they had him for the future. Trayvon Walker, Devon Hamilton, Miles Cole they drafted, and then Eric Armstead, they brought him in from the San Francisco 49ers in the offseason. Mason Smith, they drafted. Roy Robertson Harris, and Jeremiah Ledbetter had been mentioned before. So somebody that I didn't necessarily have, but was there, as kind of you have an eye on him like Cole Van Lannon because he had been in the organization. I did not have Jordan Jefferson, Tyler Lacey, or Isezi Otomewo. So I didn't have those guys. Everybody else I had. Linebacker-wise, I said there weren't a lot, but Foye Oluwakin, who they extended, I had him. I had Devin Lloyd. I had Chad Muma, Yasir Abdullah. I believe I mentioned Caleb Johnson. And so, Caleb Johnson's back. And Ventrell Miller, I didn't have Ventrell Miller. Caleb Johnson, somebody that you keep an eye on like Ledbetter. But the other guys I definitely had coming back. Defensive back, I had Andre Sisco. He's in a contract year. Darnell Savage, they brought in the offseason. Ronald Darby, they brought in the offseason. Daniel Thomas. Jerrion Jones, they drafted out of Florida State. Antonio Johnson, Monteric Brown, Tyson Campbell. The only guy I didn't have was DeAndre Prince. So everybody else, I believe I had made mention of in our prediction here. Specialist-wise, PJ, they kept their longtime punter, Logan Cook. They're going with their kicker that they drafted in the 6th round, Cam Little, of the 2024 draft. And Ross Matisic, who has been their longtime long snapper. Any surprises on the specialist part?
No, not at all. No, I think we did a pretty good job. That's not, considering, there's not really a lot to consider. I think we did a good job of it.
Yeah, for two people that have covered this Jaguars team for many, many years, in my case, covering them on site in some respect for 13 years for the most part, I would like to think that we know this locker room. I've been in this locker room for many, many years, and whatever happens for here, I trust God with that and trust God with the process. But you and I going through this roster, we got almost every single name on the 53-man roster correct. So when it comes to talking about the Jaguars, y'all know where to be right here on Wake Up Call. PJ, as always, I appreciate your time. Hope everything goes well with the doc. Praying for you and MT and Joey as always, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
All right, thanks, Daniel. All right, bye.
Take care. That coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And taking a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars roster here and just looking at it top to bottom, seeing what ended up coming to be. And some of the names that I mentioned, like Elijah Cooks at wide receiver, he's on the practice squad. So, these guys, some of the guys that we thought maybe would make the team or had the potential of making the team, if they didn't make the 53-man, they still made the practice squad. So, we are seeing that come through here. And I do want to make a note of those practice squad players that are there. I want to congratulate them, try to make note of them every single season. So I want to bring them up here and give some word here on the practice squad. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, who they decided to ultimately keep, and this is the list that we have here. So tight end Sean Bowman, cornerback Christian Braswell, wide receiver Josh Cephas, who I covered from UTSA, defensive end DJ Coleman, wide receiver Elijah Cooks, who I mentioned could make it, tight end Josiah DeGuara, safety Terrell Edmonds, cornerback Trey Flowers, so guys that were cut but still there, running back Jalen Jackson, defensive end Joe Gaziano, offensive lineman Stephen Jones, linebacker Tanner Muse, quarterback E.J. Perry, who they just brought in recently, and wide receiver Austin Trammell. So, Josh Cephas, I feel good about him. I feel good about Elijah Cooks, and maybe a Christian Braswell, Trey Flowers, a Jalen Jackson. So we'll be watching these closely, and Tanner Muse as well. So just watch those names, and we'll see what happens here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Been covering the Jaguars, like I said, for easily over a decade, and I want to thank everyone that has appreciated our coverage of the Jacksonville Jaguars and knows where to find us. We call it On the Prowl, and PJ and I talk about the Jaguars all year round, and so we look forward to continuing to do that. Want to make mention of the polls really quick here before we take a step aside for a fast break. I asked you on X, and you can vote right now if you go to X, the former Twitter, at CallDT, that's CALLDT. Go there, click follow, and you can vote in these polls today. Who will win the NL East, the Phillies or the Braves? We have 75% of you picking the Braves, 25% of you picking the Phillies, who have been in first place for a while. It's a little bit interesting there. This poll just changed as I was about to announce it. Who is the best team right now in the American League? We have 57.1% of you picking the Yankees, 14.3% of you picking the Orioles, the Guardians, and the Astros. So all of them have gotten votes, 14.3% to the Guardians, the Astros, and the Orioles, and the Yankees getting over 50% of the vote. I asked you who is the best team right now in the National League, and your choices are the Phillies, the Brewers, the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, or you can write in somebody just like you can in the American. Everyone has voted for the Dodgers. Nobody voted for the Phillies, the Brewers, or the Diamondbacks. 100% of you believe that the Dodgers are the best team in the National League. So continue to do those votes on X, the former Twitter, at CallDT, CALLDT. Follow me there and vote in the polls right now. We'll take a step aside, our final step aside on the show for a fast break, and we'll be back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, what is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Finding so many things at GG Cards and Breaks, and just a wonderful, above everything, finding a wonderful staff and awesome customer service. People that truly care and put in so much work. I went in there yesterday and they had less than an hour to go, maybe 40 minutes left, and they were going through and doing so many different things at the same time, from branding to getting everything in the inventory to helping people that were there inside of the store like myself. Just an awesome team. And, you know, doing the furniture side of things, that's they're connected to GG Cards and Breaks, which is Gideon's Gallery, which they do a tremendous job with as well. So I want to shout out the whole staff at GG Cards and Breaks for the work that they put in, and the fact that I see it. I see the people that they are, and I think in life we all want to be seen, right? We want to be seen. And when people, I mean, you don't have to be appreciated. You don't need a pat on the back, but it doesn't hurt to turn around and say, hey, these are really good people doing really good work. And I'm happy to say that because they've been good to me, and they've been good to people that have come in there, and I've seen them be really, really good to the community. You don't accidentally build relationships in the community. So shout out to GG Cards and Breaks for being purposeful in what they do. You could find graded cards, singles, rookie patch autos, aka RPAs. You could find numbered cards. You could find relic cards, autograph cards, rookie cards, graded cards that are there, as well as packs and boxes to open them up and see what you can find yourself. So if you're a pack and box person where you're like, I want to see if I can find something awesome, a little diamond in the rough, I found plenty of those at GG Cards and Breaks, including a downtown. A case hit, a downtown that I got, a laser downtown rookie card that at the time I pulled it was a $1,000 card. So you never know what you're going to find at GG Cards and Breaks. Head out there today, be it baseball, basketball, football, soccer, hockey, so on and so forth, as well as Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Disney Lorcana, and Magic the Gathering. You'll find so many things while supplies last at GG Cards and Breaks. Go out and see them today as they continue to grow, blossom, and do great things in our community. 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Jeepers Christmas, we had a jam-packed show here today. A lot of stuff going on, and so happy that you've been here with us. We split it into a couple videos just to make sure that all was going good here audio-wise in the studio. That is something that happens in the world. And by the way, you talk about things happening in the moment. The Jacksonville Jaguars have signed offensive lineman Blake Hance, who they had let go. So he's on the practice squad, as well as safety Matthew Jackson and wide receiver Louis Reese Zamet. So they are all coming onto the practice squad on top of the guys that have already been added. So that's big news here, and I'm going to be sharing that on our social media as we just talked about the practice squad, and I just put a post up on X, the former Twitter, and now we have 3 more names coming to the practice squad. So good stuff here, and in the moment broadcasting and in the moment news. I always love being live because I can give you things like this, that the email literally just came through as we were coming off of our fast break, and now I get to share that with you. So I'm going to go ahead and put those additions out there so that y'all have it and so that you can see those there. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, once again, have signed offensive lineman Blake Hance, safety Matthew Jackson, and wide receiver Louis Reese-Zammit to the practice squad. And so that is something else for you to take a look at here. And we're going to go ahead and put that out there on our social media, which we're doing instantaneously right now. I want to thank ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips for joining the show today. Really do appreciate his time as always. Appreciate you for coming on here and watching and listening with us around the country and the world. The ACC now goes coast to coast, so I appreciate everyone that watched and listened. And, of course, we're going to have that interview as its own release. It's going to release just the interview itself. I'm going to pull the interview out of today's show, put it out there on our many channels, so you'll be able to go back and tune into that on many different channels here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Big time thanks to Papa Joe. We thank you for being with us live around the country and the world Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Once we go live, when I talk about it going to all of our channels, what I'm talking about is Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, as well as Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube, amongst others. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, and we appreciate you for following us on all of these and subscribing. They're all free, so make sure you go to these channels and click follow, subscribe, whatever the button is, to make sure that you are with us. They will update on their own. When I update them, they will update you, and you'll be able to see more and hear more in the archives, so make sure you check those out. Big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York: Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Brian's Landing, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world. Go and see them at the New York State Fair right now and through Labor Day, which is this Monday, September 2nd. GG Cards and Breaks, Mother's Cupboard, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, and Servomation, refreshments, reimagining, reinventing, and reinvigorating the vending world. Folks, I have toured their facility in upstate New York, and looking at their technology, how they do things digitally, knowing what people are ordering and where, so they could see, hey, at this location, they really like to order this snack, so let's make sure that we send them more of this the next time out, so you're not going up to vending machines that just have that open space. Like, there's nothing in C4. There's nothing in D11. Well, in the case of Servomation, they know what you're ordering in real time, and in their factory, they're setting everything up to have that go out to that specific location. On top of that, I went through their massive kitchen where they're preparing this awesome food. Not only do they have a ton of variety in their food that I never have seen in vending when I was growing up, they also have a kitchen that is making it fresh and shipping it out. So Servomation, get more information at servomation.com on how you could bring their vending into your business, into your school, into your college, university, and more. That's servomation.com, SERVO, Mation, MATION.com. The Lemoyne College Dolphins are exclusive multimedia marketing partners of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate them being with us. The Dolphins coming to you during Dolphin Time, which is every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Stories with student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can find all of this by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and of course you'll find our Lemoyne playlist there as well. And you will find the Dolphins on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, as well as underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com and fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats every single month in what we call the Bobcat Buzz, with student athletes, coaches, and administration all throughout the year, with men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and esports. You'll find it all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell. You'll also find their BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel, so we implore you to go there and check them out. You'll find the Bobcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every single Tuesday during Bearcat Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide, right here on Wake Up Call. With student athletes, coaches, and administration, we have the Moments with Marshall specials throughout the year with Athletics Director of Binghamton University, Gene Marshall, and the Bearcat Break Room with student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories like Dennis Kalina did this week, the Deputy Director of Athletics and Chief Operating Officer. You'll find all of our content on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Binghamton playlist. You'll also find your Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, many thanks today again to Atlantic Coast Conference Commissioner Jim Phillips for joining the show. And as always on a Thursday, Papa Joe and I talking about so many things. Major League Baseball, we made our first college football picks of the season, and that is college football week 1. So you can go and check out our picks. I'm going to put them on social media so you have them there as well. And of course, we went to the Jacksonville Jaguars 53-man roster, reviewed it, and saw how we did. I'm going to put out our Jacksonville Jaguars 53-man roster prediction to have you listen back to what we had to say. We only had a few names that were added to that list that we did not have specifically on our list. We got the majority of that 53-man roster correct, and I appreciate the expertise of Papa Joe as always. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please stay safe and stay well. We'll see you this Friday, God willing. And if you're going out to the fair, make sure you go and hang out with Ma and Pa's and support local and support small business in our community. Have a wonderful, beautiful, healthy, safe, and happy day that is long, fun, and goes by slowly. I pray that you and all your loved ones heal completely and for good, and no matter what, through God. And, of course, that you handle well whatever comes your way, and that you're safe and sound whether you're traveling or staying put or both, and that your loved ones that have passed away, all of our loved ones that have passed away, are with us, that they're in heaven with God, reunited with their loved ones that have passed on, and that they're with us here on earth, because dying, Jesus destroyed our death, and rising, he restored our life. In Jesus' name I pray, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. God bless. No stress. Do your best. Celebrate your faith, celebrate your life, and celebrate each other.